that support group includes your wife. It's Hallie, right? I'm pronouncing her name right. Right? It's
Haley.
Hallie.
Haley.
Haley. Okay,
Good
Haley.
try. Good try.
I tried. I
Haley, I
tried.
guess, but it's Haley.
Yeah, Hallie.
You
Okay,
can
Hallie.
pronounce it.
Hey,
Haley.
Haley, you
Haley.
Oh, Haley. Okay, anyways, I was about to get into a really serious topic.
you fucked that up.
I fucked that up pretty bad. Welcome to another episode of Fairway to Heaven. This is a LIV Golf podcast. My name is Sue Hing, and of course with me is Jerry Fultz. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Painful Podcast. Appreciate you.
That's a great
appreciate
intro.
you listening. And appreciate you writing in to us on our social channels. Of course, we have our very own FTH_LIV Golf on TikTok, Twitter or the X, and Instagram. And of course, we have our very own YouTube channel as well. Please do follow us. Please do like us and leave some comments if you should like. Jerry, you have a lot to unpack, so let's get right to it. So much happened last week. It was a great week for LIV, and I think, in my opinion, for the world of golf. Of course, the highlight was Dickie Bland. Dickie Bland winning at the Senior PGA.
Yep.
You called it.
Sort of. I didn't want to put the pressure on. I didn't see he blamed me for having Australia as his worst event because I picked him as the winner with our expert picks. So I wanted to say, but I knew if I had said it, he would have heard it, and I didn't want any, I was texting with his brother Heath all week long, and I'm like, whatever you do, don't tell him we're texting, because he blames me for playing bad. So, but no, and even Eddie Pepperell said it, and who's not a LIV fan, he said the exact same thing. He's been playing against the world's best on championship golf courses, tour quality golf courses, and holding his own. Nobody was more prepared for that event than him. It's not like you could say he should win, but it seemed like he should have definitely been considered one of the favorites. He's spent almost 2 years earning a master's degree in world-class competition. In my mind, he was a favorite, and it was awesome to see what he did on Sunday, because he played like shit on Saturday.
Sorry, Blandy. Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't get to watch it, obviously, again, because of the time difference, but I caught up with all the highlights the next day. And I mean, that's quite a finish for Blandy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like one back or something at one point, right? One or two back.
I think he started the day 3 back on Sunday, didn't he? Something like that.
Right.
Yeah. And then he was one back with, I think, playing the 14th hole when Chalmers went under a chip and whiffed it. And I couldn't possibly in my life root against Greg Chalmers. I mean, there are guys I'll root against, but Greg Chalmers is just an absolute gem of a human being. So I was really conflicted there. But I mean, Blandy is Blandy, and I had to cheer him on. But yeah, and then he made the birdie there, and Chalmers made bogey. I don't know, he didn't make birdie, and then he went on to hit it stiff with a 4-iron at 15 for eagle, and then it was not over, but seemingly over.
Yeah, I mean, he played some really good golf and a fantastic interview when he was, at the trophy presentation, an emotional one, as you would expect. Congratulations to Blandy. Now, on that note, the X and golf fans are really upset about this. Apparently, his win at the Senior PGA Championship will not come with the customary 1-year PGA Tour Champions exemption because he is playing on LIV Golf. A quote from the tour: in spite of the win, because of competing in an unauthorized event by the PGA Tour, he will not be eligible for tour affiliated events. The PGA of America, USGA, and R&A each operate based on criteria of their own. Yeah. I would love, Jerry, to hear your thoughts on that, because I'm sure you have a rant ready for me and the fans to go. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite simple. If the PGA Tour wonders why their ratings are tanking, they have to look in the mirror. I mean, absolutely look in the mirror, because that's I mean, Richard Bland didn't expect to get an exemption to play the Champions Tour, but there are a lot of sponsors out there of their events who are maybe, looking at other options for their sports marketing dollars, who are like, this is a great story. I mean, it's an absolute great story, regardless of where he plays. And not to let him play in our event or a few select events here and there when his schedule allows. They're unauthorized events. I was listening to a podcast today. They're unauthorized events by whom? He's never been a member of the PGA Tour, ever been a member of the PGA Tour at all. So how can they say you're not allowed playing in unauthorized events when they have no authority over him? They've never given him a paycheck or a benefit in any way. So it just seems a little ludicrous. I mean, it's like, what do they say? Biting off your toe to spite your foot, or some analogy like that, some euphemism. No, they're blind. They're blind. They're absolutely blind to the bigger picture. And I don't want to go on a PGA Tour bashing thing, because they managed to do that themselves, at least with our fans. But then again, the PGA Tour truest purists are only going to bash us no matter what we say. It's a very short-sighted decision on their behalf, when he could actually bring eyeballs, and he did bring eyeballs. Now, granted, they had a great lead-in coverage on NBC in the States on Sunday, but their ratings on Sunday were up 88% over a year ago. 88% over a year ago. They had the Indy 500 leading in, which was probably a huge part of that. Unfortunately, their Saturday ratings were not that high, but Sundays were huge. I don't know if it's the Richard Bland effect, the LIV Golf effect, but I know when he was out on that course, the loudest cheers, as big of as a folk hero as Greg Chalmers is to this kind of small community in the golf circles, as Richard Bland is in Blandemonium, they were cheering loudest for Richard Bland. You could hear it over and there weren't many people out there, but you could hear it over the TV.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is not about the PGA versus LIV. This has nothing to do with it, but the fact that Richard Bland won the Senior PGA, he earned his exemption. It's not about the pettiness of it. It's about principle of it, and what he's earned and his right to be able to play in this. Like you said, he probably isn't looking for an exemption, but it's what he deserves, right? Now, the Twitter is just going crazy. Everyone's so upset about it. Even fans who are not particularly LIV fans, but just golf fans, and everyone's just like, really? You're going to rob this guy of what he's just earned? He's just won the Senior PGA Championship. It's just ludicrous and very petty.
It's funny because Doug Ferguson, who writes for the AP, probably the most prominent golf writer in the world, actually, and he's one of the very, very few, if maybe the only one, who doesn't really have to kiss the ring of Jay Monahan and the PGA Tour, because they need him more than he needs them. He said in the pettiness department on the PGA Tour website, the only link to the PGA Championship was an article about Jason Caron, a club pro who happens to be a great guy and a terrific player, a club pro. There was a mention of Richard Bland that you could hyperlink to, but it wasn't a PGA Tour article or a PGA Tour Champions article, and they took out any reference to LIV in that article. I'm sorry, you say it's not petty, it's principle. That is fucking petty.
It is, yeah. It is just, it's to a point where it's a little bit sad. It's a little sad.
It's sad.
Anyways, moving on.
Sad for the fans, I think, as much as anything.
Sad for the fans, exactly.
They're so over it. It's a joke. I want to fight, but they're so over it. It's a joke.
Yeah. I think we're all a little bit over it. I think it just that there needs to be a unite. Anyways, other things that happened last week that was good news. Kieran Vincent from Legion 13 winning on the Sunshine Tour in South Africa. Congratulations to Kieran. Great.
The Kit Kat Cash and Carry Pro-Am. I love that.
I know. I love
That's
that
awesome.
name. I know. I mean, I wonder what they had on the first tee. How like pros have like on the first tee? I think they would have like a variety of Kit Kats, like choose your flavor.
Oh yeah. It's I think it's a convenience store type chain or something like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. And then Thomas Pieters, great performance at a DP World Tour event in his hometown. He had a lot of love. A lot of people supporting him regardless of his choice. What else happened last week? Let's see.
Scott Vincent, fifth on the Japanese tour.
That's right. Fifth
and
all four. That's right.
all four guys who had great weeks shot their lowest round of the four on Sunday. For the guys who only can play 54 holes, all four played 72 holes and shot their lowest round of the week on their fourth round.
I know. I mean, really? I mean, are we still, really people? Like,
That's me. It's me. No, you keep
I
taking
know.
the high road. I am gonna.
No, not you, but I'm talking about people who are hating on not just our players, but just like saying, oh, you can't play 72 holes. It's just really like it's old. Stop.
Old.
Yeah, it's old. I know I know your love for Singapore, Jerry. But I had a very proud week for a Singaporean as a Singaporean. 22-year-old Singaporean, Hiroshi Tai. He makes history, but becoming the very first Singaporean and the very first Asian to win the NCAA championship. Shot rounds of 67, 77, 70, and 71, and won by one.
71 with a triple. I was watching it with a triple.
Singapore, baby. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Let's go,
you know him?
Singapore. Not personally. I know of him. Now with the win, he will now qualify for the U.S. Open next month, and he'll be the very first Singaporean at Augusta National in 2025.
NCAA gets him into Augusta?
Yeah.
Holy shit, I had no idea.
This is a huge win, obviously for himself, but I mean, we've never had, golf in Singapore is growing. It's trying to grow. And I think this will certainly help move that in that direction, right? So it's great for Asian golf as well, not just Singapore. So congratulations and good luck at the US Open. Fly that Singapore flag, baby. Woo!
I was watching it. He played awesome. He threw in a triple late, and I thought he was going to choke it away, but he played awesome down the last 3 or 4 holes. It was great.
He doesn't sound Singaporean, though. He's kind of like me, isn't it? He has a very American accent.
Yeah, but I thought English was the national language there.
It is our national language. It's just that
nobody fucking speaks it.
No, that's not true.
Not a cab I got in.
That's not true. Anyways, moving on. Obviously, so much great news, so much great golf happened last week, but also some sad news. The golf world lost someone last week, Grayson Murray, gone way too soon. Prayers and love, obviously goes out to his family, his loved ones, his friends, everyone who was close to him, everyone who was around him, everyone who was impacted by his influence in their lives. I was reading all about it, and a few people have posted on either Instagram or Twitter about how he had reached out to them without even knowing them in the past to offer a lending hand, to support individuals who might be struggling with mental health. And
addiction,
he would just
mental health, everything.
Yeah, everything. And he would just DM them and offer just a shoulder to cry on, the offer to be there without even knowing that person. And I also read somewhere that he bought someone a car.
Bought a family a car without anybody knowing about
stranger.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, bought a family car who are down and out. Yep. It's people. I mean, bad people don't do that. It's to me, I know you have strong opinions of it. My opinions are a little different about how people deal with their own mental health, but nonetheless, it seems unnecessary that it got to that point, that there should always be an answer for somebody who's contemplating that. And he obviously didn't feel like he had one.
Yeah, it's sad. And because of this, I just wanted to kind of highlight the importance of mental health. I know, like, we talk about it a lot. I know it's been talked about a lot, but I think it's valuable to talk about it, especially I think in our industry, in golf specifically. It's not really something, I think athletes have this persona of having strong mental abilities, and they're like
invincible.
Invincible, yeah. And but you just never know. You never know what someone's going through. And I just, I really want to urge people to show more empathy, to show more kindness, to show more compassion, because we often find, like, many people do suffer mental health in silence. You know, not many are very open and vulnerable about that. And some are more functional than others, and you just don't know whether they're going through something. But no one should ever assume, and no one should ever judge, right? Everyone has different story, different challenges, different way of dealing with their very own demons. Everyone has different childhood memories, et cetera, et cetera. So all I'm saying is, please, please, please just choose kindness. You know, choose to use kind words to people. Check in on your people, lend a hand, a listening ear, shoulder to cry on, anything, support with no judgment is all I say. Because you truly just never ever know. And you never know your impact on someone's life. So whether it's an impact in a negative way or a good way, right? So pick your words wisely and be kind, you know, don't hide behind this keyboard and bash people and make them feel real shitty about themselves. I mean,
well, you know, Lexi Thompson's press conference today announcing her retirement, and she's taken time away from the game to concentrate on herself, to give herself a breather, to get her mind in the right place. And I'm going to miss her. She's one of my favorite people on earth to follow and to be a friend with, and really close friends with her family and her dad and her two brothers, or one of her brothers. But she stepped away today, and it's like, she even said it. She goes, words hurt, people. You know, you don't think they do, but words do hurt. And she's faced more of them than anybody. She's had so many crushing defeats. She's faced so much of it. I don't know how she's still playing, but she is. And she announced her retirement today, and golf's going to miss her. But yeah, quit. Why do we have to be so mean to each other, especially the anonymous folks who don't have the guts to put their name on their account? It's just to think that it doesn't matter. It does. I am a very hardened old man, as you know. My feelings are very tough on this. I've been through, everybody's been through their own little states in life. And even though you don't seem like you're ever going to be a threat to yourself, I lost a very close friend of mine to the same demons that took Grayson recently in the last 30 days, Stephanie Sparks. And she was one of the people in my life that helped me really accept myself. And that's not easy to do, because the world doesn't usually know you. They don't know what's inside, and you have to have a person you can open up to let them know what you're battling and what you're dealing with. And she helped me accept myself. And then she goes and made that decision. And I'm still mad at her. I'm still crushed for her. I still miss her every day, and all her friends do, and always will. But it seems avoidable to me, and there's got to be a way where whatever people in your life can recognize the signs. And I can't tell you how many people I've reached out to in the last 3 days saying, hey, how you doing, buddy? How are you? Everything good in your world? Just, give me an indication. And to me, everybody should be a true friend and not just a friend. And the difference in my definition, the world according to Garp, Jerry, is, you call a true friend. If I called you, Suanne, and you said, I need help, you'd say, where do you need to be? Where do you need me, and when? How much do I need to bring? And you call a regular friend, you say, hey, I need help. They're like, what do you do? How much is it going to cost me? I can't, that's the difference. A true friend is someone who drops everything and says, you need me, I'm there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I know you and I banter all the time, but I do appreciate our friendship, and as you have been for me through probably a very difficult time in my life, right? You were there for me throughout all of it. So, all I'm saying is, look, we're all humans. We all might be different. We come from different cultures, come from different backgrounds, different professions. But we're all humans, and we all crave the exact same thing. We want to be loved. We want to belong. We want a sense of purpose. And all I'm saying is, just please, please choose to be kind. It really doesn't cost a goddamn thing. It just doesn't. Just when you're about to type something mean and abusive on socials or any other platform, don't do it. Just don't. There is no purpose. There is no, just
Yeah. I did
Anyways,
that 5 minutes.
thanks.
I did that on Twitter 5 minutes before we started this, by the way. Some douchebag giving me shit. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. Well, to close it off, I think, look, mental health is a real thing. It does exist in all forms and manners. And if you are listening to this podcast and perhaps you feel like you're one of those that are struggling, there is no shame in seeking help. There is absolutely zero shame in seeking help, either from your family, your friends, or even going to a professional. Or even medication. There is zero shame in it. Happiness is something that we all are chasing after. Peace is something that we're all chasing after. So seek the help you need. And hey, we're here for you. So our guest this week, he is the newest member of Torque GC, a very, very talented Mexican golfer. He is Carlos Ortiz. He made it in.
I just had to update the computer, the whatever. I don't know.
The Zoom.
The Zoom.
Yeah.
The Zoom.
The Zoom. No, everybody's having to update it right now. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Hola, amigo.
How you guys doing?
Good. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, bien.
Yeah. That's as much Spanish as I've got.
And it was almost proper. What the hell is behind you there? Right behind your head? Where are those note cards?
No, they're just my kids just paint stuff and they just hang it sometimes.
Oh, okay, that's cute.
Carlos, thank you so much for joining us. And I know just from your social media and your wife's social media that you guys just had a wonderful trip in the mountains with your teammates, Sebastian Munoz and Joaquin, and their wives, and your wife too. It looked amazing. What was that? Zion National Park, right?
Yeah, we went to Zion in Utah.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Didn't you already go there this year?
Yeah, we went and it was that nice and we had to bring our friends, It's just not the same, like when you go to a place and it's awesome, you always want to show your friends. So we took them and they loved it.
How long were you there for?
We went from Wednesday to Sunday.
And now is it one of those camping trips, or like did you camp, or did you just get like a glamping spot?
We did glamping for 2 days and then we did camping. We literally just park on the side of the road and go up on the mountain and found like a place to camp and got fire and cooked and everything for 2 days. So
that is awesome.
Holy shit. Seriously, you went up, put up a tent and cooked critters.
Yeah, I mean it actually was awesome because we flew to Vegas. Then we went to like one of those Bass Pro Shop or like one of those cabelas.
Yeah.
Store, and we bought backpacks, we bought everything you can buy to just go camping, knives, everything. An axe,
I love it.
An axe and everything, and we just went up the mountain. And I mean, I just wasn't sure if they were up to it, but then everybody was good. We actually built an unbelievable camp up there, and we found like this rock that we could be close to that it covers the wind. And I mean, we had an unbelievable time. Honestly, the only thing I was concerned about was the food, and we actually ate unbelievable. Somehow everybody packed a little bit of food, and we made it up there, and we cooked steaks and eggs. And
wow,
it was great.
You carried all that stuff in your
bag?
No, I mean, typically when you go hiking or camping, you have all these like air dried type foods that are light and compact.
We bought real food and we bought cooler. I mean, it was heavy going up, but it was worth it because we carried like food, like all kinds of food, and it was awesome. We ate unbelievable. I mean, eggs and steaks and tomatoes and fruit, and I mean, it was great, honestly.
So you guys, I'm assuming you guys have never done this before, or at least as a group, not many of you had. And so you go to a Cabela's or a Dick's Sporting Goods, you buy all this, I mean, a ridiculous amount of stuff. It has to. And I know you guys, you didn't leave anything to chance. You bought it all. You probably left shit in the car. And then you pack everything. And you got to figure out a way to pack it on your backs. And some guy in Cabela's or girl is trying to explain it to you. And you're like, okay, we got this. And then you just go. That's awesome.
We explained to them, we want to camp. We want to be able to carry everything. have you ever seen those guys that are backpacking through Europe or somewhere?
Yeah,
They're carrying
yeah.
these
Yes.
those
Yeah.
backpacks can carry, I mean, they can carry as much as you can carry, you know, like they're just huge. It's like a suitcase, you know. So, and then you can hang all kinds of different stuff from with like these the things for like climbing. You hang like the all kinds of different stuff around there, so you can carry as much as you can. But it's heavy, you know, going up a mountain with that stuff. It's heavy, but
And
we actually
altitude too.
we were, I think we were really good. I mean, we had an unbelievable time. We built our own fire. We found the wood. We cut it. We had an axe. We found wood. We cut it up, and I mean,
Wow.
I would say we were pretty efficient. Everybody had to help. So it's, I mean, it's actually a cool thing to do with close friends and everybody, because you actually have to, everybody has to do something. You know, you'll notice if somebody's just being lazy and not doing anything, because there's a lot of work to do. I
That
mean,
would be Jerry. If I ever went
yeah.
camping with like
I'd have
my
been.
team, that would be Jerry. Jerry would be like walking off somewhere drinking beer.
Yeah.
I couldn't carry all the beer I would have needed for that trip. So that would have limited it. How many of you were there?
It was 6 of us, the 3 of us with
That's
our wives.
awesome.
It was good team bonding. We missed Mito. Obviously, Mito couldn't make it because his wife Anto is pregnant.
Yeah.
They love that kind of stuff too. So we're planning to do one at the end of the year. But maybe
It looked really good. I
yeah.
mean, your photos and your wife's photos, Haley. I mean, just like it's so nice. It looked like the weather was perfect. It looked like just like you guys had such a ball. And you want to talk about team bonding? That'll be a great way to team bond. I thought last year in the off season, I think you guys did a trip together, didn't you? As
Yeah,
Team Torquay?
we did something similar. We went down to the south of Chile. Unbelievable place. I mean, it's literally we rented a boat and we went down for like 7 days. We didn't see anybody. We just were in between, it's like the fjords down there, and then you
Yeah.
just navigate between that, and then we go to a glacier, and we did a bunch of hikes, and that's where we really realized that we really like the nature, you know, like going up in hikes and exploring. And honestly, what we like the most is like going up to a mountain that is not, you know, like not touristy, or there is not a trail or anything, and just
Yeah.
finding our way up there. It's challenging, you know, but that's what we love, and we've been trying to do it, and it just takes time, and you know, like everybody has to be like waiting on every, you know, like have a like a, you know, like Quaco, for example, loves going up front and finding a route on going up there because he's faster. So he goes, checks it out. No, we cannot go this way. We go the other way, and everybody's doing something different, but it is pretty cool. You know, I think I mean, we were already really close, but these kind of trips makes us even closer.
From that response and how much I can sort of feel that friendship between all of you and Team Torquay. I always say this to even on our broadcast that Torquay, look, there are a lot of teams on the LIV Golf League that are very tight, very close. Most of them are, and they all get along great. But Team Torquay, there is just something different about you guys. There is that sense of it's almost like a fraternity of some sort that you guys just, you guys are a tight knit group of friends. What sets Torquay apart, you know, in terms of your team and your dynamic compared to the other 12 teams on LIV Golf?
Before we even were to LIV, we were already a team. What we're doing on LIV, we were doing it before that. We were staying together. We were sharing coaches. We were sharing chef. We were staying pretty much every week together in the houses. We were traveling together. Our vacations were together. Nothing has changed for us. The only thing is that we're playing on a different tour. But we were always a team. We were always trying to help each other. We were always trying to, you know, like push each other to work harder. And when somebody was struggling or not doing something that we thought it was the right way, we all found a way to help that guy or push him to even do better. And it literally, when we came, obviously, with the situation and everything, the way it happened and different times we came, I end up in a different team. But the goal was always to us play together, you know. We always had that kind of friendship already where we were a team even before being a team, you know. I don't know how to explain.
Well, you and Seb went to the same school, right? I think you're a year.
North Texas State, yeah.
Yeah, we went to North Texas, and I think all of us are really close in kind of all kinds of different ways, you know. And then since Waco got on tour, before even he had his car, we started traveling together when he was doing all those sponsor exemptions, and And then after that, we traveled together everywhere. And then during the pandemic, we got even closer because that's where we started staying together in homes. We had a chef that cooked for us. So after the pandemic finished, we just kept doing the same thing. And when you're going everywhere with these guys, I mean, we play, practice, and then travel as leisure too together. I mean, we do everything together. So it's actually a pretty cool group. And somehow it's kind of like a little family that we have on the road, you know, because you can get kind of lonely out there, and we found a way to make it fun, you know. Like I actually make fun because my wife sometimes gets mad at me that says it's crazy how much you love going to tournaments and everything. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's not my fault that I love my job, and also I have my best friends that I see every day, you know. So for me, going away to a tournament is actually going out with friends, you know. So we have a blast, and and obviously that's just something that I can definitely see that not everybody has that same kind of dynamic on their team.
I can see how Hallie thinks that way because you're leaving her with 4 kids.
Yeah, that's another. I forgot to mention that. But
he has got 4. You got 4 girls. You're the only guy in your family.
Yes, I am. It is what it is. I love. It's awesome. I wish I had a boy too, just to help me out here. But it's awesome. Being home here, you could see. I'm just watching them outside. They're literally going on these roller skates around the pool right now, and they just nonstop.
Where are you?
At home in Dallas.
In Dallas. Oh, perfect. So not too far from Denton, where you went to school. Now, I know Waco is the captain, but who's the leader? Who's the leader of your pack of 4 guys? Because every pack has a leader. Or are you all just kind of just like great best friends with all 4?
I mean, Juaco is the captain, and obviously he leads in some. I think we all kind of get together in a certain way, you know. Like I think Juaco obviously leads in the way that his work ethic and everything. He's a leader in that way, and then Sebastian in the way he thinks. He's a guy really strong mentally in some ways. Like he's a philosopher. I mean, if he wasn't a golfer, he'll be a philosopher. He's kind of that guy that thinks deeper and always looks in a different way. I feel like I'm always pushing in lots of different ways to get better. And then Mito is another guy that just brings, like, I mean, I don't know if people know this, but he's a really funny guy, always keeping you on your toes. He's always giving shit to everybody. It's just the dynamic that we all create. It's just, I don't think there's just one guy. I think that's what I was telling you guys, that there's times when one guy is doing better than the other and then tries to push the other guys, and then vice versa. You know, there's never been one guy that does everything for everybody or that we all follow. It's just that depending who's doing better, we try to lift up the other guys, you know, and I think that's what teammates do, and that's what family does. And I feel that that's just something we don't even have to force. That just comes natural to us.
Oh, that's just so special, and it must just be so much fun between, because I know during the weeks on LIV Golf, you guys all stay together. I know Joaquin now has a chef for the entire team. You guys are trying to eat healthier. Most of you are working with Ito. I know one of you isn't. Seb isn't working with Ito. But you know, it's such a special bond, and every time I'm around the Torquay camp, I can feel it, you know, every time I'm behind the scenes, I'm on the range with you guys, or we see you guys during practice rounds, you can tell the authenticity of the friendship and the fun, and just, it's so special. Now, speaking of Joaquin being the captain, now this year, as a non-surprising trade, you moved to Torquay from Fireballs GC, where you started. How are Sergio and Joaquin different as team captains?
In a lot of different ways. Sergio is a great guy. He's always been awesome to me and helped me in a lot of different ways. I mean, just to start, the age difference is completely different.
Yeah, we were familiar with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what is great about Joaco and that I love being around him is that he's not gonna tell you anything. He's just gonna show you, you know? He's not gonna tell you have to act this way, or you have to practice, or you have to do this, or you just watch him and you'll learn, you know, like that's the kind of guy, you know. He's not gonna be bothering you with words and giving you a speech or anything. And I'm not saying that's good or bad, but that's just the way Joaquin is. And Sergio is more of a guy that's gonna come up to you and try to, you know, push you, you know, to do better, and then he'll give you a speech. He'll like, he's a guy that you're on the driving range and he's struggling, he'll come and offer help. And like Sergio's more about talking and trying to just create that, whereas Joaco is more, honestly, doesn't really, he's not a guy to go express himself or even talk. We always make fun of him that he's a guy that really struggles to express himself. But if you just watch him, the way he does everything, then you'll learn, you know. And for me, being around him has been extremely helpful, and I just keep learning from a guy like that, because he is unbelievable on how he does everything and how hard he works.
Is he prompt? Awesome. Because we had him on this very podcast, the greatest podcast in the history of golf, I believe. But we had him on this podcast, and I think he was like an hour late. So I'm just curious, is he normally on time?
Yeah. I mean, we all kind of.
It's not very convincing, Carlos.
Different things, but honestly, we have now fines that if you're late to anything, you pay $100. Or no, it's actually for us it's a dinner, and then for anybody that works in Turkey, it's $100 if you're late to anything, you know. So if we say 6 o'clock in the lobby, or if we have, hey, we're gonna tee off at 12 or something, so we pretty much stay on time. But I honestly wouldn't say he's late a lot of times. I think what can happen is that he forgets he had a podcast.
No, he had the time zone wrong, actually.
For the time zone,
is what it was. Yeah.
Yes, I can see that. But no, he's normally not late. Honestly, he's pretty good with his things.
Arlo would be fucking broke. If we had that, Arlo would be broke.
Yes. See, now that is an indication of how good and how tight-knit Torquay is, because look at him. He just backed his captain up without throwing him under the bus.
Like I gave him a total chance to throw him under the bus.
I know. You totally teed him up too. You know, one thing I love when I think I was talking to Andrew Cummings, who's the trainer. He's training you as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's training you, he's training Joaquin, and Mito, right?
Yeah.
And he was telling me, because I was talking to him about Mito and how he's kind of struggled at the start of this season. And he said to me that Mito's really just feeding off when he found some momentum. I think this was in Australia, I think, when he was starting to play better again. And he said that, you know, Mito's really feeding off your energy and Joaquin's energy in your team, right? And you guys playing great golf. I mean, is that the same for you when you were struggling, when you were on team, any of the other teams, whether it's Fireballs or Torquay? Do you feel like you feed off all these other players?
Yes, I mean, we've had that. I don't feel like I've really struggled for a time or something, but I think what we have right now is that, for example, we all knew that Mito was going through a rough time at the beginning of the year. Unbelievable player, super talented, and it's more maybe just something about confidence and taking that much time off. You start with the wrong foot, and it just gets, you know, it just gets hard sometimes. You start playing good. And what we have is that we all know when something is wrong with somebody, and what we try to do is just help him, you know. And if we see him, like anybody of us, we see him talking negative or saying bad comments, and we right away say like, hey, you know, like, that's not the way to go, or we'll just have a meeting, the four of us, and just talk about things and share what we're going through and express ourselves and see how we can help. And we're always asking between the team, how can we do? We are aware of what's going on with each of us, and what we're trying to do is see how we can help, you know, because a lot of the times when you're struggling, you can't see outside your issues, and you're inside the problem, and it's really hard to understand what's going on. And it's so much easier when people outside you that know you really well and close to you, they can really know what you're doing wrong, you know, or what you can do better. And I think what we have right now is that we have already that trust with each other, and we can leave our egos out of the door and tell each other the truth and say like, hey, you know, like, for example, I'm not saying something specific, but so for example, you can go say, hey, I don't think the way you're talking to yourself in the golf course is the right way, you know, like, and I feel like maybe, you know, why don't you stop changing putters and start using, you know, try to find some consistency with something, and maybe that way you'll find something, you know. Or I'm just giving you examples. We're able to say those things, and when you're able to be honest and express yourself around the people that you are all the time, it's easy to get back in the right track, you know, because we're never going to let anybody go deep into something, because at the end of the day, we all know what you can do better, you know. And if you're humble enough to receive a critic, then you should be able to get back on track pretty quick. And I feel that's what having a really good team helps with.
Yeah.
You have
Tough
no
love, as we
idea.
call it. Jerry and I call it tough
Yeah.
love.
Yeah, and I'm guilty of it. But you have no idea how relevant that is given the current developments in golf. And I'm speaking specifically of Grayson Murray. You're speaking about it from a golf standpoint, from a friend standpoint, from a technical standpoint, in terms of mechanics or what have you. You know, helping each other be better players. But it also applies to the to our fragile psyches, to our egos, and I think that's something that LIV Golf, the team aspect of LIV Golf, um, gives you guys, especially your team, but all the teams, that comfort of knowing I have support. If I'm going through a hard time, I have support. How different is it from individual golf when you played the PGA Tour?
I mean, it's completely different. I think you're touching a subject that it is something we don't really talk about that openly, but it is important to have a support system. It gets really lonely, and honestly, people have played golf, and I mean, to this day, I mean, I feel like I'm strong and I have a lot of things that are great outside golf and that hold me together. But still, when I struggle, that feeling you get, it's terrible. It's just, you go so down and you can lose yourself in those feelings. And just having, like, I give you an example. I was playing great golf in Australia. I was there. We had chance going in the back nine, and I just, you know, I played terrible golf, and that feeling that you get, like you're that down. I remember that feeling went down. I didn't tell anything to anybody. Went straight to the hotel, and I had texts from all three of the guys saying like, "Hey, you know, like these are the things that make you stronger. Come on, let's get it." We were doing sauna every day there, and says like, "Hey, let's all go to the sauna. Let's sweat it out, and we'll talk about it." And we went to the sauna on Sunday after, and the four of us, we talked about it, kind of let the things out, and but that's kind of the guys I have, you know, because at the end of the day, we were talking about golf, but what these guys are to me, they're friends, you know, not from golf, but real friends from life. And that's what, I mean, most people need. They need just people that are close to each other and that have each other back, and that they're not afraid to tell you the truth, and that want the best for you. And I have that in Torque, you know, and that's really hard to find just in life. And I have them in my team. We work together and we're good friends, and I don't know, I don't even know how to express how grateful I am for everything that's happened to me, and that I have these kind of teammates around me. It just definitely makes me a better person, and it makes me enjoy my life even more than I enjoy it already.
Well said.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Now, speaking of going through tough times and having that support, of course, I'm sure that support group includes your wife. It's Hallie, right? I'm pronouncing her name right?
Haley.
It's Haley. Haley. Okay, Haley.
Good try. Good try.
I tried. I tried.
It's okay. She gets called Lucy, so she don't worry. She's different. It's hard to, I don't even know how, you know, that Haley, I guess, but it's Haley.
Yeah, Hallie. Okay.
Haley.
Haley.
Oh, Haley. Okay, anyways, I was about to get into a really serious topic. Now
you fucked that up.
I fucked that up pretty bad. Now, of course, that having that support group, I'm sure, has been extremely important for you. Not a lot of people know this, that your brother, unfortunately, is going through a pretty scary health situation. Similar to Blandy's brother, I believe, right? And I'm not sure the stat. I think the last time I spoke to you, you told me that he was doing well and he was in good recovery. So I'm not too sure if he's. Hopefully, he is still doing really good. How has that sort of life-changing news changed your perspective in the game of golf?
Thanks for asking, but he's doing much better. He's in remission, and that's awesome. He's now starting his life and getting back to work and everything. So that is great. But yes, I mean, things like that definitely put into perspective. I just feel that a lot of the times we worry about a lot of the small things, but then we're not appreciative enough about things about like health or, you know, just having a job and stuff like that. And I feel like sometimes those are things that happen in life to just remind us how easy it is to be grateful about something, you know, because we I mean, pretty much everybody we know, we have so many things that are going so well for us, and sometimes we just choose to complain about the few things that are not working. So definitely having somebody close to you going through some health issues can put life into perspective. But that's also something that I've learned with time, even before my brother, just to try to find to be just to try to be grateful about all the good things, and then you realize that the few things that are not going okay for you, they don't really matter, because just for me, I try to do an exercise every morning just to wake up and just say, like, just to remind I go out to a meditation where I try to be thankful about anything that comes to mind, and sometimes comes out like silly things about like having water or hot water or shoes or just health or life or good friends or a good trainer. Like I mean, everybody should do it. I do it, and sometimes I come up with these stupid things that I'm grateful for. You know, having good hair. You can come out. You can be grateful for anything. And then I feel like that definitely puts life in perspective.
You can buy that, by the way.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, you
I was
can
gonna
buy
say,
hair.
I was gonna say, Jerry, that good hair list will not make Jerry's grateful list.
Oh no, I bought it. I bought it.
I honestly try to be. For me, I don't know if you guys know me. You guys know me. I have a tendency to complain about the things that are not going well for me. So I try to fight it by trying to be grateful for all the good things that are going for me. And then I realize that a lot of times I just choose to focus on the few things that are not going, that I don't like, or they're not going the way I want to. So for me, that's a good thing to start the day. So less things bother me. If I put
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it's so amazing to hear that perspective from you, because as you get older, one of us is really old, you get a little more perspective on life, and you realize that really the only two things that matter, the only two commodities in life, are time and money, and they don't even matter until you run out. So when you get that perspective in your life at your age, is pretty cool. One of the things that this incredible life you're blessed with is your success. And that success affords you and your team to have, and I'm going to make it a much lighter subject here, to have a chef travel with you. Now that's pretty fucking cool. All right. That is pretty damn cool. What is the best thing this chef, he or she, cooks, and what is the worst?
No, look, honestly, on LIV, we really haven't had. Joaco started working with Chef Noji, that she's amazing. I've had a few meals with her, but just talking about her, she cooked these, I don't even know what they're these steaks that are some special part of the cow's body that they were the best I've ever eaten in my life. Like, it was like a fillet, and you would just like, you wouldn't have to chew. It was like you just melted in your mouth. It was amazing. But honestly, yes, I mean, it sounds kind of snobby saying that, but eating good food and treating your body right after long days of work, it's definitely the way I said it is a way to say thank you for my body to withstanding all the practice and work that I put on, and I just try to spoil it with good food at the end of the day.
Yeah, I've seen some photos on you guys' socials of her food, and it is pretty darn good. But not only is it good, it's very healthy. I think you guys are doing the whole clean eating, as clean as possible. Like you said, especially if you were working out, practicing for 10, 12 hours a day, traveling. Something else that you've added to that routine, and I've seen again on your wife's social, is during the off season, or even the start of this year, I think you were jumping in your pool and it was like 37 degrees Fahrenheit.
What?
Yeah, I mean, that's
in the winter time.
That sort of thing. Yeah, the cold plunges and like the sun and stuff like that.
I know, but 37?
That's
Is it
part of what
supposed to be that cold?
That's
part
my
of what
beer
we're trying.
fridge.
That's honestly part of what we're trying to do on the team. Is we have this kind of commitment to each other, just to trying to be the best we can, not in golf but in everything. Like try to be the best friend, teammate, boss, the best husband, the best son. So we have this commitment to each other that we're gonna push each other to be the best in everything. So honestly, those little things that I know, and I'm not saying I enjoy it, because it sucks. Every time I do it, it sucks jumping in the cold ice. But those are just ways that we're trying to find to get stronger mentally, because if the way we see it, if we can jump in the first thing in the morning and do something we don't like and we don't really enjoy, and just tell our mind that, look, I know that you don't want to go in, but we're going to go in because I'm telling you to. there is a way where you start, at least I feel that you start having a little bit more control. And I feel like one of the most important things for a human being is having your willpower strong. And so we try to find different ways to get our willpower the strongest we can. So we're not ruled by pleasure or like the easy way. So we just, that way we can take the decisions that we have to take no matter what we have to do, you know? So we're not lazy, we have our, but we're trying to work out, we're trying to get the head right, we're trying to do everything we can so we can be in control of ourselves. And honestly, having guys like that around me, it helps you, because if you see 3 guys jumping in the cold top, you're not gonna be the only one not doing it, you know. So you do it, and that way we put a little bit of pressure in each other, you know. And then you see Kwaku working like crazy. You don't want him to be out driving you by 30 yards and the only one be strong. So he pushes you to work harder, and you don't want, if you see somebody meditating, getting these states where he can be so zen, you don't want him to be the only one. So that, and then we share each other, we share with each other the tricks or things that we're finding down that path on how to get better. And I don't know, I think how I said it from the beginning, having people that you're walking the same path with, it just makes it easier to walk down that same path, you know. And that path for us is just to get better in everything we do, you know, not only golf but everything. And then if we just can create that a habit for us, that it's just going to be easier. And I think we're in that path, you know, of creating a habit of anything we do it the best we can. And that means, and we're talking about things like pro-ams and the parties, everything, because there's 2 options. We can show up and be like, oh my God, we have to do this party again or do the pro-am, or we can show up and say like, okay, it's part of my work. I'm going to, you know, these people paid to play with me and they paid to be part of this. I'm going to show them the best time they can, the best time I can, and I'm going to have them enjoy this time. And so there's a lot of different ways we're pushing each other to be better. And we just know that if we do that with time, it just becomes a habit that you're just, anything you do, you're trying to be the best you can. And that's honestly all we're trying to do right here in this team.
That is just so refreshing. By the way, willpower is something that Jerry is not familiar with. He has none.
Oh, I have all the willpower in the world. That's inspirational.
You know. Yeah, that is very inspirational. But Jerry, I think you can learn a thing or two about that. I think the problem with Jerry is he surrounds himself with not so good an influence like you, Carlos. Surrounds himself with people like me, Arlo, Dom. Who enjoy a drink or two. So needless to say, we all have zero willpower.
The king. The one, we've had so many last ones on the same night in our life. Who now? What I just want to ask that message, and you're so mature beyond your years, it's a joke, and I can say that because I'm well beyond your years. Outside your team, outside your current environment, who's been your inspiration in life? Because you are so much more evolved than most people your age.
Honestly, it's changed with time. I honestly have a lot of people, like I can start honestly with my teammates. My teammates are an inspiration for me because they all work hard. They all do have their things that are so good at. That's why I consider my friends and I look up to them, like Waco, Mito, Sebastian, the way he thinks, the way he asks questions. He always keeps me on my tippy toes on my head, you know. But from the earlier age, honestly, my dad has been a great inspiration for me. I would say I can tell you about sports guys, everything that I look up to, but for me, it's just my dad. The way it's not more the what things he said to me, it's the things that he did, and I just saw, you know, the way his work ethic, the way he treated my mom, the way he treated me, the way he carries his life. For me, that was an inspiration and a good example, you know. And having that, I got really lucky. I don't think a lot of people have that, and I am really appreciative of what he's done. Also, my mom, you know, my mom is to this day, she does everything for me. You know, if I ask her like to help me move, help me do anything, you know, and having those 2 things for me that close, it's helped me become a better person and just follow good paths. Because if you have good example right in front of you at home, it's easy to do, you know. So I got lucky in that way. If you're talking about golf, then obviously I also got lucky that way. I had Lorena Ochoa.
Classiest human being I've ever met. Classiest human being I've ever met.
I mean, that's what I was gonna say, but I had her. I mean, I really grew up playing golf, watching her becoming #1 in the world. When you have somebody like that, that's special. Like like she's a one of a kind talent, you know, that's special, and you can see her from close and have a friendship. That for me, that for me was when I was said, okay, if she can do it, then I can, you know, like not believing her what she did, but that's what made me believe when I was a kid, you know, if she's doing it, why can I not do it? You know, like, well, and that's what happens sometimes in golf, you know, like you don't ever feel you can shoot that low until you see somebody shooting that low, and then everybody shoots that low. It's just it's a weird way. When somebody breaks through first, it's easier for the next one. And she did that for me and for a lot of the Mexicans. So for me, it was a true inspiration. And to this day, I have a great relationship with her. We're together in a school that we help out. And I mean, the amount of work she does for charity, I don't think anybody gives her credit for how much she still works these days. She was telling me the other day that she probably travels right now more than what she did when she was playing, just to do all these tournaments for charity, because at the end of the day, she feels she has a responsibility with all the kids she helps to keep, you know, providing for them. And I mean, she's for me one of the top, like not only as an athlete, but as a person. For me, is one of those examples that I want to follow their path, you know?
Yeah, I never had the privilege of meeting her, actually.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately, yeah, I will hopefully
so
one
cool.
day it'll happen. I heard,
She's
but
so
all
cool.
I've heard about Lorena is how amazing and awesomely great of a human being she is. Everybody that has crossed paths with Lorena talk about either her influence on their lives, their impact, how she's inspired them, how she's helped them. Everyone that I've crossed paths with have such high things to say about her. And, you know, I caught up with Abe Answer on our first episode of Hang Time this season, and he said the exact same thing about her influence on his golf. And I just hope, I know she's not going to listen to this podcast, but I hope she hears how appreciative and how inspired you and Abe and you guys have become one of the best in the world, and her impact on your career. I think that is just so cool.
Simply put, she is fucking amazing.
Yes.
She is simply the best.
Better than all the rest. Sorry, she
okay,
likes to
so
sing.
let's lighten the mood here, because you are joining a variety of golfers in terms of starting your own alcohol, your own wine specifically. I believe that's going to be coming out pretty soon. What's the name of the company? What inspired you to do it? How involved were you in the winemaking process? And yeah, just tell us more about it.
I got questions when you're done. I got a lot of questions.
Yeah, no, honestly,
Jesus.
it's not something, I'm not a big drinker or anything, but the way it started, my parents, my brother also.
Not yet.
No, I'm not.
Not yet.
I mean, I don't think I'm not like, my parents, my brother, and what's one of my coaches from young age, Santiago Casal, he still works with me. They love wine. So we always talk about wine. And when we get together, we always had wine. And my parents are people that every time they sit down, they have a bottle of wine open and they like the conversation and everything. So we always say we should do our own wine. And then we say, like, why wouldn't we do it? So we went. So for me, that's where it started and how I like to get involved, is because at the end of the day, we got together, we went to all these wineries in Spain. I mean, just a trip alone, that was worth it, you know? We went and found what's the best wine. But every time you go to a winery, they take you to these unbelievable places and you eat unbelievable Spanish food and you try all their wines. And that's how it started. We went to all these wineries and we really found the wines that we thought were the best, you know? And then we talked to these wineries. We wanted to make our own. We made our own label. So we have these 4 or 5 different wines that are what we thought the best of each. You know, like we had a white wine, we have a strong red, we have in different prices, and we found them. But honestly, the way we did it is just to have that moment where we all go to these wineries and have this unbelievable time and these unbelievable experiences, trying all this wine and eating this unbelievable food. And then we came together and we had these wines that are going to start selling now soon. I actually go to Mexico City to the presentation on Friday. But honestly, that's how it started. And it was more about getting together, finding great wines. And then once we found them, we can share them with everybody, you know, that we made to really find the best wines for everybody. So you guys will be getting some wines once I start bringing them to the United States.
From what region are they from?
From Spain.
I know, but what region of Spain? Because
We
they have
went,
totally different tastes down there.
I mean, with the white wine, all of them are from close to each other regions, but they are. You're catching.
Oh, you let the actual wine drinkers decide on this.
No, but
I
they
like it.
are.
I like it.
The Riviera del Duero. That's where we have the main wines.
Oh, cool. No, I'm not a wine drinker at all. And I'm not educated on them, but I know when we were in Malaga last year, I fell in love with a couple of reds down there. It's like I don't even drink wine. I would go out of my way to find this. It was so good.
They're from Riviera del Duero, and then they're unbelievable. I mean, just going to that trip, it was one of those lifetime experiences that you share with your family and friends, and we just had these unbelievable meals, having great wine. I mean, that was, for me, that was what created the wine, and then somehow it actually, now we have it in a bottle, and we have with label and everything, so it's awesome. So I will be bringing some wine for you guys once we have it here in the States.
I'm game. I am game. Someone else who's very passionate about wine is John Rum, actually. So maybe you can give him a few bottles of red, and he's very big into Spanish wines as well. Now, is it called Certus Vino? Certus Vino?
Certus, yeah.
I can't do it. This is why.
And his wife's name's Haley, by the way. Haley.
No, it's not Haley.
It's Haley.
It's not
It's fucking
so
Haley.
Haley.
Yes. All right. Let me ask you a question. I got a serious question about your alcohol production here. Serious question. You've come from Guadalajara, and that is in the state of Jalisco. Yes. The state of Jalisco is the only state in Mexico that has the indigenous plant that is the only ingredient you need to make really good tequila, the agave plant. That's only indigenous in the entire world to Jalisco, Mexico. And you're making wine.
Well, he doesn't want to compete with Abe Answer. Abe's already got Flecha Azul. So,
very good.
I am not a big drinker, so that for me, doing the whole, I love tequila. If I drink, that's what I drink. But honestly, to do a brand, it just takes a lot of time. I have four kids. I do not have time to be doing what Abe Answer works harder than anybody off the golf course that I've seen. He has like 4 different companies doing all these different events every time he's in the off weeks. I can't. I either have kids or I have my own tequila, so you can't have both. And having 4 kids. So this wine thing for me was more, I'm going along with my family and my friends, and it's just something that we created together and we're sharing with everybody. Having your own tequila company, that's a different story, like what we're selling. Where we're selling a wine, like
4 kids, tequila.
Yeah.
I know what Jerry would choose.
The 4 kids. Are you kidding? Of course, but and I'm not even a tequila drinker, but I know that the best tequilas in the world, any good tequila actually comes from the state of Jalisco. I didn't mean to put you on the defense there. I'm sorry.
No.
I love a good tequila.
I've got invited to be in different tequilas, honestly, and investment, and honestly, most of my friends, their families created these tequilas with these big brands. They've sold them now, and a lot of them are still involved in the tequila business. And I mean, I love it. And maybe in the future I'll do something, but honestly, right now I have time to play golf and barely time to just spend. I barely have time for anything. Honestly, between golf and 4 daughters, it's not that easy to have time to do it.
I got to meet almost, I think 3 of your daughters. I can't remember which event we met. Probably Mexico, maybe even Miami. And they are so cute. They literally are so freaking cute. One of them's like a real tomboy. She wears her hat back.
Miami. That's Mila.
Huh?
They're all so different. It's hard to believe that they all come from the same place, and they're all like, the first one is a princess. Tomorrow is her birthday, and it's a mermaid party. Then the second one,
that's awesome.
It's a tomboy. Like, she does not wear like normal like bikinis, no skirts, no. Like, she likes to wear. She wants to be like me. It's like, no, Mila, you're a girl. You cannot be. No, Daddy, I want to be like you. I want to be a boy. No, Mila, you can be a. You know, like you can't be a boy. You're a girl. Ah, I wanted to be a boy. Like, okay, you can't be a boy. You're a girl. But you know, like but she's awesome. I mean, and then the third one is she does whatever she wants. You know, we can't tell her to do anything because somehow we were too worried about educating the first two that the third one we forgot, and then it honestly does anything she wants. You know, we can't tell her no because she throws a fit. We don't even know. And then the fourth one, now she does everything by herself because, you know, we're all busy trying to figure out.
The older, well, she has the older siblings too. When you get to the fourth, she's got three basically looking out for her, and
I mean,
three to copy too. And
it is honestly my house is a chaos, but it's one of those chaoses that if I'm here 2-3 weeks, I'm like, oh, can't wait to get to a hotel room. I spend one night by myself, and then I'm like, where are all my girls? You know, I miss them. You know, like it's just
yeah, you miss the noise and the chaos.
a weird thing, but when you're there, you just want to have your own bed. You want to have your own time, and I leave, and after one day, I want to go back. I miss them. I mean, I'm addicted to being home. You know, like it's just that feeling that you're here. It's awesome. Having a full house. It's crazy, but it's one of those things that's unbelievable.
Okay, that's a great segue for Jerry's favorite segment. It's called Fairway to Love.
Oh, this part sucks. This part's awful.
This is when we dig into kind of your romantic life, and
this is all her. It's all her.
This is when we get to see the romantic, vulnerable side of all these macho athletes that we call golfers.
I do secretly like this part, by the way.
Your wife, Haley.
Very good.
Haley. Yes. Yeah, an hour in and I got it right.
Thanks, Suzanne.
How did you guys meet? And you know, I know she's a very big supporter of you. I got to have a chat with her, and she's always just so enthusiastic about your golf. How did you guys meet? And tell us that love story, man.
Honestly, we met in school, and she liked me, and she got me. You know, I would like to tell you different, but it was not that I can tell you a fairy tale story.
I want to interview Haley right now. I want Haley to come in and tell her side of the story.
I can ask her; she'll tell you the same thing. She look.
She hit on you? She kind of hit on you, or what?
I barely speak.
Who hit on who? Who hit on who?
Said that she liked me, and then I knew she liked me, but I barely speak English. We had that language barrier, but it is the truth. She saw me, she liked me, and then she told me she liked me, and then I liked her back. I mean, that's a short story, but it was like that.
That's always the male version of every love story.
Now I have way too many questions, but not suitable for a podcast.
Now, Haley, she's American, right? Is she American?
She's from Texas.
And now does she speak Spanish?
Perfect Spanish.
Really?
Wow. Really?
That's one thing. Look, and I'm not being macho or anything, but I always told her, look, I learned English. You need to learn Spanish, you know, like you
taught her Spanish?
Not that I taught her, she learned to. She's good with languages and
stuff. Wow.
We started dating freshman year, and then she took Spanish the last 2 years. But it was a lot of times when we used to go home, then everybody speak Spanish, and they had to change. You know, it was a table of 10 people, and the only one that didn't speak Spanish, it was her, and then everybody had to like change, you know, languages to speak in English. That it was it's always awkward to speak in a different language with the people you normally speak in Spanish. So I just told her one day, look, I'm gonna do this. I don't want you to feel bad or anything, but we're not gonna change the language just because you can't speak Spanish. So you better learn Spanish, because if not, you're making everybody uncomfortable. You know, my aunts barely speak English. They cannot speak English between each other, so you can only understand. You know, so it's your job to learn the language.
It's your job.
Honestly, it is true. I did that. I mean, I did learn English. And then she learned Spanish, and that way, I mean, I feel like it sounds mean, but it's the truth, you know. Like if we're gonna be together and she's gonna be part of my family and everything, she at least has to learn Spanish. It's not. I mean, if you work on
That's awesome. But listen, being around it and being around you and your family, your friends, is the best way to learn a language, because you hear it all the time. You hear it actually spoken in a conversation, and you learn the grammar, the tone, the sounds of it. so much quicker than if you were to do it like me, where during COVID, I was on Duolingo trying to learn Spanish and failed miserably. So that's awesome that she's speaking fluent Spanish right now. That
perfect.
is
He said perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect. I honestly feel that also by us trying to be nice and speaking in English to her, you're actually hurting her, because if you just speak Spanish to her, there's a time where she's gonna start understanding, you know, like the people want to communicate, you know, and she loves talking, so she found a way to.
She loves talking.
She found a way to speak Spanish, but I mean, she's awesome. She learned that, and she loves the culture. She has embraced the Mexican culture too, and then we're raising our kids, and all our kids speak Spanish and English perfectly. So that's
awesome. Does she have a strong accent?
No, honestly, she's really good. She's worked on it, and she barely has an accent. A lot of times, when she goes and speaks Spanish and here into like, I don't know, different people or in a store and everything, everybody thinks she's from Mexico, because
oh, wow, that's awesome.
The slang hard. And the mannerism she speaks is really close to what obviously Mexicans.
Wow.
I mean,
good
what's
for
on
you,
the
good for
what's
you.
on the all night love line next question? You're going down, love lane.
Well, I was texting with her to try and get some dirt on you, and she's a very good wife, and she did not throw you under the bus in any way, but she did say that she did influence you in something that a lot of people might not know that you have. You and I have a little something in common, tattoos. You've got 2 now.
I have 2 tattoos. I never in my life imagined I was going to get a tattoo. I always grew up thinking they were gang and, all these sort of stereotypes. But, there's a point where she wanted to get tattoos, and it's like, okay, you go get your tattoos. And she got her tattoos, and she told me about her experience and everything. And I'm like, okay, she like keep pushing. I want you to come one day down with me to get a tattoo. I'm like, no, I don't know. It's like, look, why don't you come with me? Just tell me, because the guy we get the tattoo with is kind of like an experience. It's not like a normal way to get a tattoo. It's like you don't really know what you're getting. It's more like a spiritual thing. You tell him like what you want it to mean and what you want it to represent, and then you give him completely creative freedom. And when you show up, he has this.
You're shitting me.
I'm not kidding you. So I did that. I went with her, met the guy. I mean, I love the guy. I love the little town. So it's this place in the middle of nowhere in Oaxaca, in Mexico. It's this town that there's no rules, no nothing. It's these people that live on their own, They are of no police, no nothing. There's just, they live on their own in the middle of the mountains, They have their own...
Off the grid, as they say.
Yeah, off the grid. I mean, this guy didn't have... He had 4 kids with no water, no electricity, running water, electricity in his house. Now he has... But he went in the extreme. Now he's in the middle where he has all the good commodities, but still lives off the grid. So we went, I showed up, and I loved what he had made, and I didn't know where to put it. And honestly, I'm a guy that sometimes I get a little bit like excited, and I do things without thinking. It's like, look, I'm here. I know I'll get it. And I end up putting it here in the chest, and that's it. And I loved it. It was...
It's really like, it's right here. I think you showed. I think it's like right, but it's like right there, isn't it?
Yeah, it goes like right here. It starts like here and it goes down. But it's... So I got it, and I really painful, but loved the experience, loved what it meant, and I loved it. And then I went back and then got another one in the leg. They're all like in places you can't really see, but I actually love the experience because it's more of a meaning and what they mean. More than it's not just an image. It's just something that really is deep. Something that I always gonna carry, and it's gonna be something really important to me. And
what's this one mean? What's it mean?
It has a lot of different. It's a trip. When I'm in person, I'll explain it to you because I'll show it to you. And the cool thing about it is that I can show it to you, and you can actually see. You can tell me what you think it means. Because everybody can interpret it in a different
art,
way.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And I like that about that. But for me, it means a lot of different ways. This one is mainly about. It's a tree, the tree of life, and it has roots too, and it has 2 different sides. There's the spiritual side and the real life, and I mean, it has a lot of different meanings and the connections, and has connections to my daughters. It's a lot of different things that I wrote like a paragraph of everything I wanted to mean, and somehow it's all represented here in different ways with different lines and different things. It's actually it's kind of.
I gotta go there.
It is.
I gotta get Haley, and we can all go together.
Sounds like a movie, actually. Just the
It's
whole experience
brilliant.
sounds so.
It is an
surreal.
experience because I'm going to tell you something. when they tell you it hurts, it really hurts. I mean, I got it here in the lips. It is terrible.
Yeah, it's right by the bone.
Hours
Yeah.
like they're going like that, but it's part of it. You know, you put that, you intention that pain, and because it's worth it, because whatever you're going through, it's meaning, it has that strong of a meaning that you're okay going through that pain to make it happen. I don't know. For me, it was an experience.
That's
It is
beautiful.
an experience. I loved it.
It is.
I never really thought I was going to get a tattoo, and I have two now, and it's probably eventually going to have more. We'll see.
I literally say the same thing to myself. Like, by the time I got to my fifth, I'm like, I'm done. Now I have 24.
What do you got now? 24. If I ever get a tattoo, it's going to be from this guy in Oaxaca.
I was gonna say, Jerry, what if we let's have a little team retreat. Let's all go to Mexico, and let's go get this. Let's go get all these tattoos. I'm interested to see what he would give you. Okay, so we open up Twitter for people to ask you questions, their burning questions, so that they feel like they are interacting with you. So I'm gonna pick some of my favorite ones. By the way, do you fish?
I fish.
Okay, well, there you go. Well,
the guys at 54 Golf who sent that question in knew that.
Yeah. He goes, Carlos, which fish so far was the toughest and longest to reel in?
Well, we had honestly last year, by the end of the year, and I think it was October, November, we got the blue marlins, and it was one of them was a huge one.
Wow.
It took some time to get it in, like 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and
holy shit.
No.
Yeah, no, they take forever.
And how many of you?
No, it was 3 of us on the boat, but I caught one, and the other guys, we had 2 of them. So, but blue marlin is the biggest fish I've caught. But
how many pounds?
I mean, it probably was maybe 400 pounds.
Yeah, and they fight like fucking crazy.
We jumped and everything. We lost one. We had it by the boat, and we lost one. The other one, we got it up, and I mean, we had fish to share with everybody. I mean, the people that were on the boat, like, they were all happy because they bought food for all their families and everything. So it was awesome.
That's cool. Awesome. That is so cool. This person, Roscoe Futch, I hope I said that right. He says that's literally how it's spelled. He says, to win a major from the fairway, what would be your choice of distance and club?
I mean, you always want a wedge. I mean, a wedge would be awesome, but if it's an iron, probably 165, a 9-iron. I would love to hit a 9-iron close from 165.
165. All right, let me see what else is here.
I've made a few holes in one in my extended life, and all have been with a 6-iron or a 9-iron, and I've had equal amounts, 6 of each. All have been with a 6-iron. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, no, really? I've been around a while. Yeah, 6 of each, 6 with a 6-iron, 6 with a 9-iron, and 2 of them on the same hole.
No.
With different clubs. One with a 6-iron when I was 11, my first hole in one, and one was a 9-iron when I was in high school. Yeah.
That is awesome. Speaking of hole-in-ones, Carlos, how many? You have like 10 or something, don't you?
Yeah, yes, 10.
How about 10? I haven't made one in LIV. I want to make one in LIV. I haven't made one in LIV, but yeah, I have like 10.
Wow.
Laurie Cantor like heel shanked a shot and made a hole in one. Where was that at? Singapore last year? Hong Kong? Where was it? Remember, he let go of the. You don't see the broadcast, but he hits one. I think it was our third or fourth hole in one. Hits it, drops the club in disgust, and it goes.
I remember it was last year. I don't remember what, but I remember seeing it, I think.
Yeah.
You got a good.
Now this person, artist golfer John, wrote, what is the most memorable childhood memory of growing up in Mexico that brings you good vibes?
Golf related or what kind of memory?
No, I think memory. Just like childhood memory. Yeah.
I honestly have a lot of memories playing at the beach with my family, my cousins and stuff like that. I loved, now that we're talking fishing, that's the first thing that came up. We still have the house by the beach where we used to go, like, we had like, it was on the water and you could go fishing. So we go to go big fishing in the mornings, and then in the afternoon go to like in the canals and fish. And I mean, when I was young, that's the only thing I wanted to do, just fish and go to the beach.
So is that like northwest Guadalajara or southeast?
That is southwest. It's in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, We have
Yeah, that's gorgeous. Absolutely
I feel
stunning
like
down
there's
there.
just so many parts of Mexico I need to go and visit, you know?
No,
I
the whole entire country. It is my favorite. It is that if I retire, if I ever retire before I die, I'm going to be one of those American expats. And Guadalajara and Riviera Maya would be the first two places I look.
Oh,
I thought
there's
it was Mayakoba. I thought Mayakoba would be
Well,
where you
Mayakoba's
would
on
go and...
Riviera Maya.
Riviera
It's
Maya.
Riviera Maya.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, Mexico, if we take out the sometimes the violence that you have that happens, it's beautiful. I mean, you have everything. You have mountains, you have beach, you have anything you want. It's just sometimes you have that, you know, that sad part that is just the violence that happens, and sometimes it makes, you know, like because I am the same way. My dream is just to go back to Mexico and retire and be there, and then honestly have a lot of land and maybe be in the mountains or something like that. But you always have a little bit of risk or insecurity that, you know, somebody might want that, the wrong person might want that, and you know, it's not the same.
Yeah. And man, is the food good. God,
I mean,
Oh
the
my
food,
God.
everything,
so
the
good.
people. I mean,
Jesus.
it is a great country in a lot of different ways.
Hey, Carlos, before we let you go, a couple of questions. There's one that's really important that I really wanted to ask you, because obviously this year, great win, right? In Oman at the International Series. I think it was your first win after your last one, which was 2021, and that was on the PGA Tour. Now, I know what our reactions were. In fact, I think Dom had a great line when you won the International Series in Oman, and he goes, I don't think there's 1,200 players in the world better than him, or something like that. I can't remember what Dom said it was, but it was, I know what our reactions were when we saw that your OWGR world rankings went up by like 1,000 places or something ridiculous like that. I mean, what were your reactions when you found out that your OWGR went up 1,000 points?
I mean, honestly, it is a joke.
Did you care?
Honestly, I mean, at this point, I mean, I cared because of the only reason I cared because of the Olympics. I went to play the Olympics, but and obviously the majors and that stuff. But it is a joke. I mean, to this point, what is happening in things like that, I think we're all grown-ups, and I mean, it is sad. You know, at the end of the day, if you want to have accurate rankings, you have to do something about it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. But the majors and literally, you want the Olympics, and the Olympics are not going to. The IOC is never going to respond quickly. But I know a lot of the different countries, their federations have asked if they can select their two golfers to represent them in the Olympics, and eventually it'll get to that point. And the majors operate independently, and thankfully, the PGA of America has been the first adult in that room. In what they did with the PGA Championship, and also what they did with the Senior PGA Championship,
I know.
when they allowed Blandy to defer because he couldn't play last year, so they allowed him to defer as a 51-year-old to play this year. And I know you had more questions to ask. I know we got to wrap up because we've taken way too much of his time. What did you think of what you saw out of Blandy this weekend?
I mean, I love that guy. For me, it's not that. For me, it's not that impressive when you just see Blandy. But then you remember he's 52 years old, and I'm like, oh my God. I mean, that guy is as good as he gets. If I'm 52 years old, I'm
51,
playing,
I think.
51?
I think it's 51. Yeah.
51.
It's one or two.
Have you seen him? He grinds. He's there. I mean, for me, that I love Blandy. I have so much respect for him and what he's doing. And I'm so happy he won. And you know, obviously I've talked to him a lot because we had our brothers and I met his brother and we shared experiences and everything. He's an unbelievable guy. He deserves it. And I mean, if I can just be half as good when at his age, I'll be happy. But it is impressive. You know how I said it's really not. You think, oh, Blandy, no, you know, see his results and it's like, oh, great play. He's playing awesome, great player. But then no, he's 51. Yeah, then he's beating all these young guys at 51 and grinding and probably working harder than most. I mean, that for me is impressive, and I mean, I'm so happy for him. I don't think there was somebody that was not happy for him. It is impressive to see somebody that works that hard and still getting the success at that age. I mean, it's awesome.
So cool.
And he's also such a great guy. He's such a great guy. No, that was a great question. All right, Carlos, we're gonna wrap it up with one final question. What do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, fucking great question. Jesus Christ, that's good.
Honestly, I mean, for me, it's more beyond golf. I want to just be able to help the people around me. Anybody that needs help, I want to be able to help that and help them in a way I can. And for me, it can be through golf, it can be through life, it can be through anything. For me, just I want my legacy to be that if anybody had anything I could help with, I wanted to be there for them. And that's just not the people I know, but anybody. And I feel like I'm that kind of person that if somebody asks for help, I will give it to them no matter what. And you know, I just feel that we need, like talking about Grayson and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of people that need help out there, and sometimes they don't ask for help. So, you know, I just want them. I just want to know that if anybody needs help someday, I'm there for them. You know, and for me that's important because I think we all need people that are there for us.
That's
awesome.
That's very noble and very generous and very inspiring. So, Carlos, it's always a pleasure spending time with you. I appreciate your honesty and your openness, also dealing with wisdom, yes, and also dealing with Jerry and myself and our BS. Apologies for not pronouncing your wife's name right for like 100 times.
Hallie, it's Hallie.
It's Haley. It's Haley. Stop fucking with me. Carlos, I appreciate you and really look forward to seeing you again in Houston next week. Enjoy your time at home and the chaos and all the noise, as I would here as well here in Singapore. So, and then we'll see you in Houston, man.
You're awesome, kid.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'll see you guys in Houston. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Wow. I tell you what, Suzanne, I know you know these guys better than I ever will because you're out there with them and you're friends with them and their family. And I don't get that luxury based on our format and the fact that I'm in the booth. But you're
a better commentator.
You are able to get so much out of these guys that nobody else in the world could do. So awesome. Awesome. I'm going to get a beer.
Oh my God.
Well, that's awesome.
Wait,
I mean, who
in
the world,
who in
the world would have guessed that the guy that the world barely knows would be that open? That was so awesome. Awesome.
That is awesome.
I'm not even drunk.
I know. What the fuck is happening?
I thought Pooj was incredible, what we got out of Pooj, but that one was even better. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Carlos is great. And he's actually it's funny because people don't see that about Mito, and I'm glad he said that. Because when I'm around Mito, he is so funny.
Well, let's get him on.
He's like cheeky funny. He's really like hilarious. I don't know if you noticed though, but in Australia, do you notice that all of Turkey had grown out their mustache?
Yeah.
And shaved and a mullet? And I also love how he says like, oh, you know, the whole welcome party and pro-ams, you know, all the, you know, whenever you go to, and I know you don't go to that many welcome parties, and I have to go to because I work those nights, but Torquay often come to those welcome parties with matching shirts.
I know. It's awesome. It's so cool.
So good. It is. Yeah. Torquay does it. Stinger does it. Sometimes I think last year in Adelaide, Ripper Team did it. It is really quite fun. It is really fun.
I'm going in Nashville for sure. Nashville.
You are?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Hey, we need to go to a really good bar, by the way, in Nashville.
We have to, yeah. I'm driving there and back, so just so you know. All right, wrap up the show. I gotta go. I gotta feed the cat that I'm never gonna pet because he's out there eating. Arlo. Yes.
All right. Well, that was a fantastic interview. Once again, thank you, Carlos, for joining us. And thank you for choosing our podcast to listen to on your drive, at home while you're cleaning, doing what you do in your various activities. Anyways, like I said, please do follow us on our social pages, FTH_LIV Golf. We're on X, we're on TikTok, and we're also on Instagram. And we do have our very own YouTube page. So do subscribe. It is Fairway to Heaven, LIV Golf. Like us, follow us, give us a thumbs up. And also feel free to DM us whenever you like. Thank you so much for choosing us. Jerry, as always, a pleasure.
We're not on MySpace. We're not on MySpace or AOL chat rooms anymore. Sorry, I know. Yeah,
we're also not on
I feel your pain. What's that? Friendster?
Friendster.
What's that?
Yeah. It's like
I don't know that one.
Yeah, it was like before. It was like before Facebook, I think.
No.
Friendster. Yeah.
No. MySpace was the first social media besides
yeah,
Facebook.
they could. I think Friendster was the second. Anyway,
Never heard of it.
I look forward to doing this in person with you, Fulty. It's always
Me too.
way more fun doing this in person.
Me too.
And look forward to finding out who our next guest will be next week in Houston. So,
yeah.
I'll see you in Texas, baby.
Cheers, girl. Cheers. That was fun. I had a blast. Thanks.